Hey, it's Rob again. Got another video to show you here, a unique model. We're at the 2022 Skaneateles Antique Boat Show, and it's a model of Pardon Me, a beautiful model built by Greg Rice from Michigan, and he's here today to talk a little bit about the real boat, kind of how he built this model, and talk a little bit about the details. So let's welcome Greg to the video here. And there's Greg. And thanks for coming to the show. We always love to see your models, and we're excited to see the Pardon Me, which is, I know, a new build that you just finished. And if you could just tell us a little bit about the full-size boat, Greg, where it is today.
Well, Pardon Me has been called the world's largest runabout at 47 feet 6 inches long. It was designed by John Hacker in 1947 and commissioned by Charlie Lyon, who lived in the Thousand Islands area of New York on the St. Lawrence River. The boat was built at Hutchison Boat Works in Alexander Bay. There was a lot of struggles in the process of the build between the designer and the builder and the owner. And ultimately, when the boat was constructed, Charlie Lyon was not overly happy with the boat, and he told Hutchison Boat Works to keep the boat. Subsequently, a few years later, the boat was purchased by Dick Locke in Michigan. He renamed the boat from its original name, Pardon Me. He called it Locke Pat 3, and he owned it for about 25 years and kept it in his boathouse on Harson's Island. It was then sold a couple other times and eventually purchased by Jim and Tony Lewis, who donated the boat to the Antique Boat Museum in Clayton, where it resides today. It's the flagship of their collection, and you can see it if you visit the museum.
Awesome, thanks, Greg.
The original boat, I should mention, was powered by a Packard 4M 2500 engine, which is the same engine that was used in all PT boats in World War II.
Wow.
And it powers this boat, the original boat, to somewhere between 55 and 65 miles an hour.
Wow, that's impressive. So next we're going to ask you a couple more questions here. So how to build something like this, Greg, I know this is not a kit, it's a scratch build. Just tell us a little bit about how you were able to design this boat. And I know you have a prop here to show us kind of how it was built. So that would be kind of interesting to see.
Well, to start any scratch build, you need to start with some kind of a plan. And I was able to obtain plans that were established by the U.S. Department of the Interior. They actually came and scanned this boat as part of their Historical Engineering Records program. And they created a number of 16 megabyte size files with a tremendous amount of detail. And those files are available open source online through the Library of Congress. So with those plans, I was able to begin the process by building the structure of the boat. And I have a section, I have another hull that I actually framed partially to show you how that takes place. That process begins with a keel, which defines the bottom shape of the hull, and then frames, which establish the shape of the hull at certain points along the keel. Then stringers are applied, and a shear line and a chine line to define the side configuration of the planking. And I'll turn this over. To continue with the planking, this boat is double diagonal planks. So one section of planking runs in this diagonal shape, and then a second layer of planking over it diagonally in the other direction, and then the final planking, which is fore and aft. That's the visual planking that you see. In this case, all that planking is done in mahogany.
Wow, very nice, nicely done. And how long did it take to build this model, Greg?
I worked on this boat for 3 years, and there's approximately 2,000 hours of labor.
Wow, came out so nice. So glad we got to see this model. And for finishing, Greg, how did you finish this boat? What type of clear coating or varnish?
Well, the boat
did you
has
use?
a layer of fiberglass cloth set in epoxy to strengthen the entire hull. And then on top of that, as well as on top of all the deck surfaces, I have a number of layers of helmsman spar urethane, which I built up to a fairly thick layer and then went down through a successive number of grits of paper, starting probably at 800 and ending at 3,000 grit. From the 3,000 grit, I then use an automotive clear coat polish to take out all the marks, and you end up with this flawless, shiny finish.
Wow.
This boat has, as you can see, a number of fittings, and one of the most time-consuming elements of a boat like this is the construction of the fittings, because they can't be purchased. They're all fabricated. In the case of this boat, we used quite a bit of 3D printing technology. We were able to, from drawings, create three-dimensional math, and from that print the various fittings in a castable resin, which could then be used using the lost wax casting process to cast these various components in bronze. And then those bronze fittings were then hand finished by me and then plated with a chrome plating to give you that ultimate finish that you're looking at.
Wow, thanks, Greg. I'm so glad you got to bring this model here today to show everybody, and all your other models are just beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing the model, and thanks again, everybody, for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again, Greg.
Thanks, Rob.